The winning blueprint presents.
Draft Zone.
Welcome to the Draft Zone. I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. This is the NFL Draft Game, here with the New York Jets. And what the draft game does is it focuses in on the first round selections of every team in the National Football League. The microscope is then focused in on one particular team, in this case the Jets, and their selection in the 2013 draft. The Jets are drafting ninth in this year's draft, and so we'll take a look back at prior history of the ninth overall selection in the draft from years 2000 to 2012. We'll do the same for the Jets over that same period of time. Analyze those picks, grade each player out drafted in that span with a baseball grading scale, either single, double, triple, or home run, and in the rare case that they did not work out in the league, a strikeout. So let's talk about all the players drafted at the ninth selection, and to do so we'll be using this comprehensive spreadsheet that I've put together with every single team and their draft picks in the first round for the last 13 seasons spanning from 2000 to the present. So I'll be using that when talking about the New York Jets and what they were able to do, and when talking about the ninth overall selection in years 2000 to 2012. So let's start with the ninth overall selection and in the year 2000. Now, looking at the ninth selection in 2000, it was Brian Urlacher. We know what he's been in this league. We know what he's been to the Chicago Bears franchise. Another Bear linebacker in that long lineage of Chicago Bear linebackers. Add Brian Urlacher to that list. He is without a doubt a home run for the Chicago Bears in 2000 at the ninth overall selection. You look at 2001, the ninth overall selection, Koren Robinson, wide receiver out of NC State, drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. His off-the-field issues probably cost him his career in the National Football League. The talent was there. It was undeniable. Koren Robinson could run. He actually added extra value in the returns game. He was a heck of a return man, fielding punts. But he just couldn't stay out of trouble long enough. When he finally did have the light bulb go off, injuries beset him, and so Koren Robinson's career only amounted to a single. You look at 2002, the ninth overall selection, John Henderson, defensive tackle out of Tennessee, drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. Solid pick, formed one of the best defensive tackle tandems in the league in Jacksonville for about a good 4 or 5 year stretch with him and Marcus Stroud. John Henderson is a double. You look at 2003, another defensive tackle. With the ninth selection, the Minnesota Vikings took Kevin Williams, a really good defensive tackle. He's been really, really good. We're talking about 6-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro. This guy has got it done. Double-digit sacks 2 times in his career. Kevin Williams epitomizes what you want out of a defensive tackle. Hence, he's a triple in this league. You look at 2004, ninth overall selection, Reggie Williams, the receiver out of Washington, to the Jacksonville Jaguars. A huge disappointment. Had the body of a Greek goddess. It's 6'4", chiseled, muscle, looked like a tight end, but in a wide receiver body. It's amazing that he didn't find a way to pan out in this league, but Off the field issues coupled with skittish play on the field landed Reggie Williams out of this league in a hurry. He's a single. You look at 2005, Carlos Rogers, drafted by the Redskins, cornerback out of Auburn. Solid pick. Didn't work out in Washington because he could not catch the football. Was a really good corner in Washington, has been a really good corner in San Francisco. Hence, Carlos Rogers is a double. You look at 2006, Ernie Sims, linebacker drafted out of Florida State by the Detroit Lions. Never was the linebacker the Lions thought they were getting with that pick at number 9. He's got all the intangibles, all the characteristics, all the attributes you look for from a stellar linebacker, but it just never all came together for Ernie Sims. So he flamed out in Detroit. He's bounced around the league. He's been to Philadelphia. He's been to Dallas, where he resides now. And Ernie Sims is a single. You look at 2007, Ted Ginn Jr., wide receiver out of Ohio State. Look, I didn't think he was that good of a receiver at Ohio State. I thought he was a dynamic return man with the ability to make things happen once he gets his hands on the football. So in college, he was just faster than a lot of people. And that allowed him to run by people on go routes, catch a slant, accelerate past defenders. But at the next level, you have to be better than just fast. Because guess what? A lot of other guys on the field, just like you, are fast. And so your speed alone isn't going to be good enough. I thought that he never added another dimension to his game. He's just fast. And at the end of the day, that wasn't enough for Ted Ginn to be any more than a single. You look at 2008, Keith Rivers, linebacker out of USC, drafted by the Cincinnati Bengals. Another physical specimen that looks the part of an NFL linebacker. Problem is, he plays nowhere near his potential nor his body type. You look at Keith Rivers, and it's a 6'3", physically imposing linebacker that's supposed to be able to devour running backs and make plays sideline to sideline like he did in college. It's never been the case in the National Football League, and I don't think it will ever be the case in the National Football League. Keith Rivers is a single and barely. You look at 2009, B.J. Raji, defensive tackle out of Boston College, drafted by the Green Bay Packers. Really solid pickup for the Packers. He exceeded my expectations. When you draft a guy in the top 10, you expect him to be good. I don't think I expected B.J. Raji to be as good as he's been. He was a catalyst in that 2010 season when the Green Bay Packers won the Super Bowl. He went to a Pro Bowl that season. He's been really good. I thought he had a disappointing 2012 campaign. I thought he was on his way to becoming a triple, and then 2012 happened, kind of set him back. He's a double right now with the potential to be a triple. When B.J. Raji is on, he's one of the best. When he is not, he's ordinary, and so he's a double. You look at 2010, C.J. Spiller, 9th overall selection by the Buffalo Bills out of Clemson. This running back has the potential to be a star in this league. He wasn't given the starting role up until last year, where he displayed why he should have been the starter all along. Over 1,200 yards rushing. He's dynamic in every sense of the word, can catch the football out of the backfield. I think that C.J. Spiller is on the cusp of becoming something big in this league. The Bills have to replace some of the holes that they have on their offensive line to make that come to fruition. But C.J. Spiller right now is a double in this league with the potential to be a triple or possibly a home run in the near future. You look at 2011, the 9th overall selection, Tyron Smith, tackle out of USC. Dallas Cowboys draft him, put him at right tackle where he is exceptional. I'm talking about home run status was on the horizon for Tyron Smith at the right tackle position. Cowboys got greedy, moved him over to left tackle where he hasn't been as stellar. And so that value came all the way down from potential home run, solid triple to, hey, he's just a double. So not to knock on Tyron Smith, I thought he was okay. But when faced up against elite talent on the left side, he has struggled. And so don't think that the Cowboys had the answer at left tackle with Tyron Smith, but he's a really good tackle in this league. I think if he's put back in his proper place on the right side, the Cowboys could have themselves a stalwart at that right tackle. Tyron Smith is a double right now. 2012, Luke Kuechly. He's really close to being a home run. I need to see more for me to feel comfortable giving him that designation. But right now, he's a solid triple. Rookie of the year on the defensive side of the football, Luke Kuechly was a beast for the Carolina Panthers. And I feel like with more experience, with more time, I think his career might extrapolate over time as a home run. But right now, Luke Kuechly is a triple. So now you look at the Jets and their draft history in this 13-year span, and you start with 2000. I've never seen a team with this many first-round selections in one draft in my entire life. The Jets in 2000 had 4 first-round selections. Wow. How does that happen? We know the Patriots are the masters of trading back and accumulating picks, but never have the Patriots had 4 first-round picks and used all 4 of them. Normally, when a team has 3 or 2 first-round picks, they might take 2 picks, trade another one away. They might draft 1, trade 1 away. They might draft both of those picks, but never 4 and actually take 4 players. In 2000, the Jets drafted Sean Ellis, Chad Pennington, John Abraham, and Anthony Beck in 2000 in the first round. Now, Sean Ellis, solid NFL career. He was really good with the Jets, really had a solid career. Again, never stood out as a dominant defensive tackle, but he was solid. You knew what you were getting from Sean Ellis week in, week out. Sean Ellis is a double. You look at Chad Pennington. He was drafted relatively high for his skill set, but he was a really accurate quarterback. He was a soft tosser. Arm strength was never his forte, but with what he had, the tools that he was given and blessed with, he made the most of them. So Chad Pennington is a double. You look at John Abraham. He's had a stellar career, and looking at the numbers, it's hard to say that this isn't a home run. He's never been on a team as a difference maker, and that's probably the one thing holding me back from making him a home run. I think John Abraham is a triple right now, but he is really inching ever so closely to a home run. You look at the last of their 4 first-round picks in 2000. Anthony Beck, the one of these first-round picks that really didn't amount to much. He was okay, had a long NFL career, but did not stand out at the tight end position. Honestly, I don't know why he was even drafted in the first round. I mean, looking at Anthony Beck and his whole entire career, he was the same guy from his rookie season to his 10th or 11th season in the league. A blocking tight end that would catch an occasional pass, was never overly athletic. Anthony Beck is a single. You look at 2001, Santana Moss, drafted out of the University of Miami. He's a double. He was okay with the Jets. His career took off when he went to Washington to play with the Redskins. He's been a really solid receiver for the Redskins over the years. He was a return man early in his career with the Jets as well. Santana Moss is a double. You look at 2002, Brian Thomas. Solid defender, a linebacker for the Jets. He won't knock your socks off. He won't wow you with what he can do on the field, but he's just okay. And for what the Jets drafted him to be, that's not okay. And so Brian Thomas is a single. You look at Dwayne Robertson. Brian Thomas probably should be a double. I'm probably being a little harsh. He's a guy that has been in the league for a long time, played for at least a good 8, 9, maybe 10 years in the league. And so that longevity probably deserves a double. But Brian Thomas was just ordinary. And I penalize ordinary sometimes. In this case, I do. I think he's a single. You look at Dwayne Robertson, and the reason why I had to go back and clarify that is because here's another guy that played in the league for 7, 8, 9 years, really never amounted to anything. And the longevity is probably why he gets a single. Because Dwayne Robertson was drafted to be this monster of a man at the defensive tackle position. Was drafted to be a difference maker. You draft a guy in the top 10, he's supposed to be a difference maker. I believe Dwayne Robertson was drafted as a number 4 overall selection. And for that, a top 5 pick, you need to be dominant. And he was anything but coming out of Kentucky. He's a single, but he could easily be a strikeout. You look at 2004, Jonathan Vilma, double, solid NFL defender. At times was really good, but I don't think he ever cleared that double plateau. I think he hit it, he put a charge into it, but it bounced off the wall. It never quite cleared the wall. And so it's a double for Jonathan Vilma. You look at 2005, there is no first round selection for the New York Jets as they traded that pick to the Oakland Raiders. You look at 2006. Jets double dipped, and they double dipped a doozy in 2006, drafting DeBrickashaw Ferguson, and then double dipping and getting the center Nick Mangold. You can't do it much better than that in a draft where you have 2 first rounders. You spent those picks wisely, 2 guys that still play on your team to this day, 2 triples in my estimation. Great first round draft for the Jets in 06. Look at 2007. You follow up that great first round in 06 with a stellar 07 by getting Darrelle Revis. This is an absolute no-doubter, tape shot measure, moon ball, home run, Darrelle Revis. Look, I saw Darrelle Revis at Pitt, and I was not impressed. I thought this guy lacked the top-end speed to be an elite corner in this league. He actually fielded punts at Pitt, too, and he never wowed me. I was never enamored with his skill set. Yet he gets to the league. Yes, he gets away with holding and being very rough with the receivers. He uses a lot of roughhousing tactics, but if it's not called, it's not a penalty. And Darrelle Revis is one of the best, if not the best, corner in the league. It's a home run for the Jets, and a huge one. You look at 2008. After having 2 consecutive stellar drafts in 06 and 07, the Jets follow it up with a dud in drafting Vernon Golson, the outside linebacker out of Ohio State. This one looked like bust from the outset. I wasn't enamored with Vernon Golson in college. I thought that he was a guy that played in the Big Ten and benefited from playing in the Big Ten with less athletic guys around him. You know, the Big Ten isn't known for having the greatest crop of athletes, so he stood out because he could run a little bit. He was stronger than a lot of guys, but it was the Big Ten, and I thought he was a product of his environment. He got into the league, and he was a fish out of water. He was no longer athletically superior to his counterparts, and it showed. And he could not thrive in the environment in the NFL. He flamed out quickly, and he is a huge draft bust in New York Jets history. Vernon Golson, a terrible pick in 2008. He is an absolute strike out, no doubter. Bat never left his shoulders. 3 straight pitches down the pipe. Vernon Golson strikeout in 08. 09 sees the Jets draft Mark Sanchez. Look, up and down career. Started with a bang. 2 AFC championship games. You thought that the light bulb would eventually come on. You traded up to go get this guy. When you invest so much in a player, you expect dividends and returns on your investment. You haven't gotten it from Mark Sanchez. It's a single right now. This could easily turn into a strikeout. We'll see how his career progresses. But right now, I am off the Mark Sanchez bandwagon, and I think that this guy is potentially a strikeout candidate. But right now, he's a single. You look at 2010, Cal Wilson, cornerback out of Boise State. Solid, nothing great. You drafted him to probably be a slot guy. You had to play him out wide last year. He's okay, but I think if he's in the slot, he's probably better served that way. He's a single right now in the league. You look at 2011, Muhammad Wilkerson, drafted out of Temple University. Solid big man. I like the potential that's there. I need more from Muhammad Wilkerson. You draft this guy in the first round, you expect him to perform at a high level. We'll see what Muhammad Wilkerson is about now that the Jets need him to step up on that defensive line. he's played well. And 5.5 sacks in a season is a really good number for a defensive tackle. So the sky's the limit for Muhammad Wilkerson. I need to see more, however, but I feel like he is a guy that can ascend in this league. It's a double for Muhammad Wilkerson. Right now, you look at 2012, Quentin Coples is your draft pick. Look, I think that Quentin Coples is a solid defender. And with time, probably will get better. 5.5 sacks in a rookie campaign, which saw you only start 2 games, which means essentially you were a situational pass rusher, is a solid number. It's not great, but we've seen a lot less from guys who played a lot more. And so 5.5 sacks is nothing to scoff at in limited duty. If you give him the playing time that I think he will get in 2013, stretch it out over a 16-game stretch, I think he's going to play a lot more, start a lot more. This could be a double-digit sack getter in this league. I don't know. I need to see more from Quentin Coples, but 5.5 sacks in limited duty is nothing to scoff at again. And so you don't know what he could be. Right now, 5.5 sacks in limited duty equals a double in my book. And I think Quentin Coples can be a really good player for the Jets. They just need to put him on the field more and in situations that allow him to get after the quarterback. But I like what I see to this point. That is the New York Jets and their drafting history from the last 13 seasons in the first round. You add them all up and average them up, it turns out to be a double. So not bad drafting at all by the New York Jets. You look at that number 9 overall selection and averaging all those guys up, it comes out to a single, which is not what you're quite looking for at that pick. So you put the two together and you're looking at a solid single. If you're the Jets, that's not acceptable at 9. You don't want a single. You don't need a single at 9. You can get a single in the 5th round. You can get a single in the 7th round. You can get a single from an undrafted free agent signee. You don't need a single from a top 10 pick in the 1st round. So that's not an option. If you're the Jets at 9, I think it's a necessity that you hit at least a triple. Most teams can get away with hitting a double. I think the Jets need a triple or better here. You can't afford a single, a strikeout. A double is borderline iffy with the Jets because you're in such dire straits right now. There's not a lot of good things coming out of New York these days. And the best player on your team right now, as constructed, is on the trading block. So that's how bad it is in New York right now for the Jets. You really need to hit a home run at 9. If you don't hit a home run, hit the next best thing, a triple. But either way, if you're the Jets, I think number 9 needs to be a guy that can get after the quarterback. You may lose Revis, you may not. Either way, I don't think he's going to be back after this season anyhow. And so I think it's in your best interest to help that secondary out by getting guys that can get to the quarterback. You got Coples, who got 5.5 last year. Let's see if he can up that total in 2013. You got Muhammad Wilkerson, a guy that I think can get to the quarterback as well. You add another pass rushing threat on the other side, and you see what happens. If you can get to the quarterback, force some havoc, force some ill-advised throws, maybe a guy like Antonio Cromartie can get his hands on footballs, turn it into some points, or get it back to the offense, and maybe create short fields for Mark Sanchez in that offense and take some of the pressure off of them of feeling like they need to go 75 yards to score a touchdown. Either way, you got to get after the quarterback. A guy like Jarvis Jones sitting there at 9, I think is a good pick for the Jets. I think he exemplifies what the Jets need right now. Look, if you go in a different direction, wouldn't be mad. Just get value at 9, and it has to be a guy with the sky being the limit for his potential. Right now at 9, you can't take a guy where, hey, his best is a triple, but he's not going to be any worse than a double. No, you can't take a solid pick here. If you're the Jets, I'm giving you permission. I haven't given anyone else this permission. I'm giving you permission to roll the dice. Go up to the plate, and you need to be thinking, man, I got to hit this one a ton. You still want to go up there and make a sound pick. Do not reach. That's not allowed. Don't go reaching. However, I give you permission to look outside of the box, draft a guy that maybe isn't supposed to go at 9. as long as it fits what you're trying to do, and this guy has the potential to be a home run in this league, go for it. You're in dire straits. You need home runs. You need big players to step up for you. You don't need any more average guys on your roster. Can't afford for it to happen. So I'm giving you the permission. Go out and do whatever you need to do to make number 9 a splash for you. If that means getting Jarvis Jones, great. If that means drafting Ezekiel Ziggy Ansah, by all means, do it. If that means drafting Demontre Moore, which I wouldn't agree with at all, do it if you feel like that's what's in the best interest of the Jets. Just don't be stupid at 9. And what I mean by that is don't go drafting a wide receiver at 9. Don't go doing something foolish at 9. Just make sure you get... Look, you need a receiver, but not at 9. No. Get a defensive player. This team isn't going to be solved by one offensive player. But maybe, just maybe, this team can be helped immensely by a defensive player that steps in and has an enormous year. Who knows? Just get a really good player. Not okay, not solid, a really good, borderline great player at 9. That's all I'm saying. That is asking a lot, but the Jets could use every single great player they can get their hands on. And that's what they need at 9. I think you need to draft Jarvis Jones, defensive end / outside linebacker out of Georgia. I think that's who you're going to draft. We will see in the draft, but that's going to do it for the New York Jets in the draft game.
Mm-hmm.